The parables of karmic moral awareness. The parables of karmic moral awareness. Before I go on, immediately, I want to correct a mistake that I made in the previous video when I did the introduction of this here parables of karmic moral awareness. I was calling millenniums 100 years. No, centuries are 100 years. Millenniums are 1,000 years. I was saying millenniums were 100 years. I was talking about centuries. The white people, according to the Yaqub story, in which I have studied over and learned of, they were grafted or birth grafted into existence 66 centuries ago, not 66 millenniums ago. 66 centuries. There's a difference. Centuries, 100 years. Centuries equate to 100 years. Millenniums, 1,000 years. Millenniums equate to 1,000 years. That mistake out the way, moving forward. So, back to my purpose of the video. The parables of karmic moral awareness. The parables of karmic moral awareness. You can also say the parables of moral karmic awareness. You can also say the parables of moral karma. You can also say awareness of the moral karmic parables. Awareness of the moral karmic parables. You can say it however you'd like to say it. You can line it up however you'd like to line it up. You can apply it however you'd like to apply it. For all morals are just a physical examination of a person's actions from their very start through to their duration and unto their ending, and or unto their destiny, and or unto their fate, the unavoidable, inevitable manifestation. If you continue certain behaviors the way in the direction you are continuing these behaviors, what will manifest is what you are set up to manifest, and or what you are setting up to bring about into your physical reality, if you follow what I'm saying. So, you can, like I said, you can say the parables of moral karmic awareness. The parables of moral awareness, or the parables of moral karmic. Remember, moral awareness plays internally. Karma plays externally. Morals play internally. Karmas play externally. What is karma? Karma is the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existences, viewed as deciding their fate in future existences, or destiny and fate, following as effect from cause. Effects are external, affects are internal. Moral awareness is an internal affect. Then you have karma, an external effect. You follow what I'm saying? The parables of karmic moral awareness, or the parables of moral karma awareness, or the parables of moral karma, or awareness of the moral karma parables, or awareness of the moral karmic parables. So, moving forward now, for this video, what am I getting at? What do I ultimately want to talk about? There is one thing, 3 things, and 5 things in total I wish to tell you about for this video to make more sense. 1 thing, 3 things, and 5 things for 9 in total. 9-dimensional base. 9-dimensional base. In actuality, every individual person is an infinite dimensional being. Every individual person alive is an infinite dimensional being. Everybody is. It's just in order, but the thing is, infinite is huge. A lot to grasp and comprehend. So start with the 9-dimensional basis, is what I like to say personally. Start with the 9-dimensional base. You follow what I'm saying? So, moving forward now. 9 things. The first thing I want to tell you about can be labeled and described as the devil soul standard. Devil soul. A devil soul standard. Why a devil soul standard though? Soul. Think about what the word soul means. The word soul literally defines as, or a definition for the word soul is literally intellectual or emotional energy or intensity, especially as revealed in the work of art or an artistic performance. Take these words with you now. Through the spirit, the soul breathes. Through the spirit, the soul sees. Through the spirit, the soul eats. And through the spirit, the soul believes. Right? Take those words with you. Now, the soul, as a definition for the soul, is emotional or intellectual energy. Emotional or intellectual energy. Both of them in one. Energy or intensity. Energy or intensity. Think of it this way. Emotion, subconscious mind. Intellect, conscious mind. Energy or intensity, unconscious mind. And then reveal through the work of art or an artistic performance, the performance of your five senses. Remember, your five senses are what give your three in one as the psyche. Your psyche is three things in one. The conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious minds in one thing as your psyche, you see? Now your psyche, whatever your psyche is set up to be, because your soul is the psyche. Your soul is your psyche. Your soul is your psyche. Whatever your psyche is set up to be, to, within, and throughout your senses, five senses, your psyche's setup will manifest. You follow me? Your psyche can also be viewed as the engine, whereas your five senses can also be viewed as the vehicle in which the engine is in, that the driver is operating entirely thereof. You follow what I'm saying? Your psyche is the engine, your senses are the vehicle thereof, and this one thing that I told you about beforehand, that there is the driver. Kick the devil 47 centillion yards off of these weaponized black people. Pull the weaponized black people out of the non-weaponized black people. Force sheathe the weaponized black people. Pick up the non-weaponized black people, refuse with them, and then get ready for the next battle. I'm going to keep telling you the same thing over and over again. Just going to keep making up many, many unique ways to tell you the same thing over and over again. I love you very much. Don't worry about it. Just stop being afraid. I love you very much. Stop being afraid. I love you very much. Stop being afraid. Moving forward. So the one thing I want to tell you about, then the three things and the five things. Remember, spirit is what gives soul a body. Spirit is what gives soul a body. Spirit is what you can label and describe as divine feminine energy at base. Soul is what you can label and describe as divine masculine energy at base. Spirit is ether. Soul is astral. No more mistakes. Centuries are 100 years, millennium are 1,000, moving forward here. So, and this is another reason, I want to say this too real quick before I move on. This is another reason why I don't want to drill my conviction in. This is another reason why I don't want to drill it in just yet, because I don't have my entire conviction fully mastered. This is practice. I need more practice with this conviction here. I need more practice with this conviction. Practice and practice and practice makes improvement. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes improvement. Les Brown. Remember Les Brown said that. I have to keep practicing so I can get my sword completely ready and sharp enough to really bore in and do some moral purification. So here's to more practice. One thing, then three things, then five things I want to tell you about. The first thing I want to tell you about is the devil's soul standard. The devil's soul standard is the oppressive body's driver. But who makes up the oppressive body? The devil's psyche. The devil's psyche consists of conscious mind, the white leadership, subconscious mind, the white fighters globally, the white leadership globally and the white fighters globally, and unconscious mind, the white civilians globally. More details, the white leadership execute the devil's trickery nature, or the devil's trickery force. The white fighters, like Iran and Israel, for example, trying to drag everybody into their world. Remember, no part of the devil's body really has control over itself. Not even the devil itself has control over its own body. That's why they're doing all the things that they want to do. Why do you think Donald Trump is dealing with what he's dealing with? Or why do you think Donald Trump has to, or not has to, or why do you think Donald Trump and this whole Iran-Israel situation is beginning to escalate as it is? Donald Trump is one of the few white people in all of reality that still harbors some type of connection to the God soul standard and or the just love soul standard. Remember, energy, what type of soul? What type of soul? From what I'm seeing, there are four types of souls. You have positive, emotional or intellectual energy or intensity. You have negative, emotional or intellectual energy or intensity. You have balanced, emotional, intellectual or energy or intensity. And then you have dead, emotional or intellectual energy or intensity. Four types. On God's side, it's technically two, because the positivity and the balance are in one. Positivity and balance should never leave each other's sides, ever. And positivity and balance have control over the negative or at base spiritual or at base feminine energy. They have control over the feminine energy on God's side. And on God's side, the negative energy is simply a force that can be utilized however you wish to use the force to utilize it, if that makes sense to you. And then that fourth energy, all four of those things are in one on God's side. On God's side, those four energies, those four types of souls, they're all in one on God's side. You follow what I'm saying? And they can be labeled and described as a nirvanic establishment, or paranirvana, or mahaparinirvana. Moving forward. So, the one thing, the devil's soul standard. This is why I call it a devil's soul standard, because the type of soul standard it is. Remember, a standard is what you establish. A standard is what you establish. What type of energy are you trying to establish in this world? Are you trying to establish the devil's psyche into the world, which is the white leadership, the devil's trickery nature, the white fighters, the devil's oppressive and or brutal nature, fighting force nature? Every military in every country on this planet, except for the ones who harbor essentially melanated people all throughout them, primarily those two. Why does every military in every country exist? Did you know we don't even need militaries? We are our only things to govern or watch. Moving forward. So, the white civilians execute the devil's spiritual force. Remember, I said the white leadership is what gives out the devil's subtle force. The white civilians, I meant to say, the white civilians are what give off the devil's subtle force. So in other words, the white civilians are the devil's spiritual force. The white civilians are the devil's spiritual force. What is spirit? Spirit at base are our five senses. Spirit at base are our five senses. And when you look online to see how they were gifted unto us, or how they were endowed unto us in order, according to how our ancestors believe in it, you started out with sound. Then you got your physical body. Then after the physical body came your sight, third eye. Then after sight came your taste. And then after taste came your smell. Five senses covering a three-dimensional one psyche. Five senses giving a three-dimensional psyche, given a three-dimensional psyche form, its abilities to move to, within, and throughout us all into reality. But what is your three-dimensional psyche form set up to manifest? What is your three-dimensional psyche form set up to manifest? It all depends on who the driver is. It all depends on who the driver of your soul psyche is. If the devil is the driver of your soul psyche, then throughout your soul psyche, to within and throughout your senses, the devil's ways will manifest into this world. The first thing I want to tell you about is the devil's soul standard. What moves or what controls your soul psyche. The three things I want to tell you about: conscious mind, being the white leadership, the trickery force of the devil's nature, or the trickery force of the devil's soul standard. Then you have subconscious mind, the white fighters, the abusive and or oppressive force of the devil's soul standard. All the devil though. It's all still the devil's body. And then you have the white leadership, or white civilians. They harbor the spiritual force, where the senses come into play, of the devil's nature. Senses. Since I am talking about the devil's body in its entirety, what would be the devil's five senses? I have 5 specific parables lined up. The 5th one I'm still working on though. Not gonna lie, this is brand new. The 5th one I'm still working on. So, for the past 66 centuries, and they've now had control for 2 millenniums. Remember, millenniums are 1,000, centuries are 100. For 66 centuries, since they were grafted into existence, these are the 5. You can use these 5 hierarchies to label and describe the devil's senses, in other words. These are the devil's senses. These 5 things are the devil's senses. Those 3 things I told you about were the devil's psyche. And that one thing I told you about was the devil itself. The one that's driving the weaponized psyche, or the perverted psyche, into the world as it is currently. 5 things right quick. There are going to be a lot of the things that I've been talking about already. Here they are, though. First, for hearing, the 16 evil supremacy dimensions. That their parable is lined up with the hearing. And then second, you have the 10 enemy regulation forces. That there is lined up with the physical body. And then for the sight, you have the 9 foul principalities. The 9 foul principalities. I'm going to tell you what they are in a moment. Every detail. The 9 foul principalities. That there is for the sight. That's lined up with the sight there. And then the one lined up with the taste, I have for the devil senses the 4, I want to call them the 4 soul manipulations. The 4 soul manipulations. This is a relatively new parable. I think I'm going to call it the 4 soul dividers, or the 4 divided souls. That's what I may call it. Because remember, what kind of energy, what kind of intellect, what kind of intensity, what kind of emotional or intellectual energy or intensity, especially as revealed through the spirit as a work of art, in which it is, or which is going to be, especially if your soul with the proper driver in the vehicle operating it. You follow what I'm saying? There should only be one thing in charge of the soul itself. There should only be one thing in charge of the soul itself. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward now. So, 5 senses. Now, I have something called the 4 fundamental forces of human emotion. I have something called the 4 fundamental forces of human emotion. What kind of human emotion? What kind of energy? What kind of intellect? You know, you can have, there are 4 styles of mental you can have, and there are 4 styles of emotion you can have, according to how I'm measuring it. You follow what I'm saying? This is my parable. I'm coming up with it to make this make more sense for you and everybody else who still may have a connection to the God soul standard and who sees the actions of the devil soul standard and are like, I'm not with that, right? So here, the fundamental forces of human emotion are also the 4 soul manipulations, the 4 soul manipulation tactics. That's what I want to call them. Because the thing is, it's all supposed to be one energy, but due to this enemy we're up against, we have to measure it as if it's divided into 4. But it's all just one energy, just love energy. The Most High God is just love energy. The Most High God driver is just love energy. And the Most High God driver is the soul. If you want to believe that. I believe God is in us. That's what I believe personally. And I also believe individuals, human beings like Donald Trump, despite him being shot, harbor some type of connection to God's soul standards, even though he's still a part of their game and wants to sign travel bans, preventing me from going to Haiti to unite the people there. Your travel bans aren't going to stop me, dude. They're not. You need to know I'm against you in every way possible. I am. I'm against every last one of you that exists in every way possible. But why? Because of this fake you. This fake you got control over you. You said they don't know what they're doing, right? Father, forgive them. Then again, you don't need any more forgiveness, because to forgive is to forget. You say things like, I may forgive you, but I'm never going to forget. To forgive is to forget. Stop forgetting. Make them do better. Don't be sorry. Do be better. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward. So here. The 4 fundamental forces of the 4 fundamental human emotion forces are going to be like the reverse of this here new parable that I'm coming up with to label and describe one of the devil's senses, one of the devil's sensory factors or sense spirits. Devil sense spirit, the devil sense spirit. That's what this 5 parable is. That's what this 5 group is. That's what I'm telling you about. First was the 16 souls, evil supremacy dimensions. The next one was the 10 enemy regulation forces. Third one is the 9 foul principalities. And now the 4th one is the 4 soul manipulation tactics. 4 soul manipulation tactics. All of these 4 soul energies should be in one. But instead, we have to analyze them as a positive soul trait, because the enemy uses positive soul traits to manipulate us. we have to look at the balanced soul traits, because the enemy doesn't necessarily the enemy uses imbalancing soul traits. So knowing of a balanced soul trait will give us an ability to fight back against what it wants for us to be. You follow what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the main thing it wants is to dominate everything that we are in every way possible. I'm watching for that foam mouth now. I'm gonna stop it. Lick your lips, man. Just lick your lips. That's it. Lick your lips. Right? Moving forward. So then also the negative soul trait. The negative soul trait, remember, soul is energy or emotional or intellectual energy or intensity, especially as revealed in the work of art through your senses or an artistic performance, arter. You follow what I'm saying? Through the spirit, the soul breathes. Through the spirit, through the spirit, through the senses, the actual psyche does things. Through the senses, the psyche does things. Through the senses, the psyche does things. That's ultimately what I'm telling to you about the soul and spirit parable. But here's the thing, though. Right now, currently, our soul, meaning our engine inside of our spiritual vehicle, is under control of something outside and above Donald Trump's pay grade. Not even Donald Trump himself can do anything to stop it. Why do you think Iran and Israel are going so crazy trying to suck all these black people on the planet into war? Hey, man, y'all all a part of the same game, bro. Even Donald Trump. Travel bans, bro. Getting white people from South Africa over here, knowing how dangerous white people are, especially from South Africa. Moving forward. So, the fourth one, what I just said. And then you can also have a dead mental disposition as well. And that'd be the fourth one for the soul, to make that make more sense. And then the fifth one is the reverse four somatic divine task. That's the last sense there for smell. The reverse somatic divine task. Now the four somatic divine tasks are as follows: the reawakening, the reincarnation, the resurrection, and the reestablishment. Those are the four somatic divine tasks right there. The reawakening, the reincarnation, the resurrection, and reestablishment. Now, for them, it's reverse. They come with an establishment. Two problems first. They double damage you with one fake solution. Double damage, fake solution. So they come with the establishment first. Then they come with the resurrection. Then they come with the devil's establishment, then the devil's resurrection, and then the devil's consistent, like, preservation of evil and chaos into our world. Through the white civilians primarily. Meaning it's like the white leaders and the white military is what gives the white civilians something to preserve in our world. You follow what I'm saying? But here's the thing, though. White people, in actuality, are weaponized black folks. You can believe that if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to believe nothing I'm saying. I'm just saying stuff out loud and putting it on the internet. That's all I'm doing. Also, I'm saying, hey, man, whatever principle in which you desire to follow is the principle in which you desire to follow. And or whatever principle, spelled with a P-L-E, the principle internal, spelled with a P-A-L, principle L-E, external on the ground. Whatever you wish to stand on is on you. I'm just saying stuff out loud. But why am I saying stuff out loud? Because, similar to people like Donald Trump, I desire a normal life. Meaning, I am letting what is natural in me speak to, within, and throughout me. I'm just letting it talk for it. I'm just letting it talk for me. Doing my best to stop whatever mistakes that a long time of a perverted subconscious psyche may be the primary reasons why I make any mistakes that I make at all. You follow what I'm saying? Any mistakes that I make at all, like being forgetful about certain things. Instead of being overwhelmingly desirous to tell you to do better, I be forgiven or be forgiving subconsciously without even knowing. No more forgiveness. These people are always begging you to forgive them because they want you to forget everything they are doing, and every millisecond they do it. They want you to think you're not oppressed. They want you to think these things. They want you to feel like it, not think. Because if you start to think, you'll balance out by accident. Oops. Yeah, the God in us is really that powerful. You follow what I'm saying? So yeah, those are the things I wanted to tell you though. The one thing, the three things, and the five things. The one thing being the devil's soul standard, the driver. The three things being the soul, the devil's soul psyche, So the one thing is the devil's soul standard. The next thing is the devil's soul psyche. Remember, everything that comes from the devil is death and destruction and evil and wrong. Everything that comes from God is life and goodness and righteous rage. Put life into the spirit, not death into the spirit. Put life through her, not death through her. This reality should be seen as the man's first wife. And what do you do to your wife? You ensure her well-being. That's what you do to a woman, right? As a man, right? As a regular man, you ensure your wife is going to be all right. You ensure your wife lives a good life. Especially if you don't have anything taking away all of your necessities to be able to do so, right? Well, reality is your wife. Take care of reality. Make sure reality is living a good life. As men, as every man on this planet in which we are married to this reality of which we are in. This reality is our wife, and we need to do right by our woman. Balanced love. It ain't about having a good heart. It's about having a balanced mind, heart space. It's about balance. It ain't about goodness. It ain't even really about peace or none of that either. It's about balance. Right now, evil is fighting to have our good grounds without disturbance. You follow what I'm saying? Evil is fighting to have our good grounds without disturbance. So we need to fight, or balance needs to fight, to have its regular grounds without disturbance. Because that's ultimately what is going on here. All throughout the world, evil is fighting to have control over positive grounds. And it's doing so by establishing its ways first. It establishes its evil first, meaning it beats it into the ground, beats it into the area, and then it tricks us into accepting it, resurrection, and then it preserves it through reincarnations and awakenings. Remember, they do it in reverse. My four somatic divine tasks, regular, is the reawakening to the just love energy, reincarnation of the just love energy, resurrection, coming back to your just love senses, and reestablishment of your just love senses, just love energy, what's good, beautiful, normal, and natural, righteous rage. You follow what I'm saying? What they are coming with is the opposite of this in every way possible. One final note, and I'm going to close out the video. So, what's my counter for this? The I, Father, God spiritual parable. The I, Father, God body. The I, Father, God. So check it out, right? The religions, once the religions crack their spell and go back to normal, they are going to be the soul driver, the God soul standard driver. That's what the religious beliefs are going to be. Once I crack the religion spells and drive them all back to normal, and or drive them back home, and or break all of the curses and or spells that the so-called white people, which are in reality are weaponized black people, as virtually everybody alive is, if you didn't notice it, to break the spells in which the weaponized black people have been cursing us with for the past 66 centuries, and have been really potent with it in the last 2 millenniums. To break all of that spell there. There's another reason why I'm saying these words out loud. And if the religious beliefs crack the spell of the 66 centuries and or 2 millenniums, if they crack that spell first, they become the soul driver standard, or the God soul standard. They become that. The religious belief system becomes it. It becomes the God soul standard if it's broken. You follow what I'm saying? So, I hope you didn't move it forward. The next, you have the tribes. The tribes will be the leadership, the black leadership. Tribes will be the black leadership, but the religious will be the soul driver once it works. You'll see what I mean, and you'll see what I mean later on. They're just going to be bumping heads. Remember 4x4? They're going to be bumping heads with one another, bumping heads with one another. You follow me? So next, you have the tribes. They're going to go against the white leadership. Or once the religious curse is broken, the tribes will go back to being the black leadership of the world. You follow what I'm saying? And then soul tribe. And then you have the gangsters. of Africa's greatest defenders, or Alkebulan's greatest defenders, or Kemet's greatest defenders. I found out that the continent of Africa was actually called Kemet before as well. It was actually also called Moor, M-U-U-R, not M-O-R. I did some research as well and found out that the word Africa, spelt with an A-F-R-A-K-A, translates to first son, soul. And then I found out that, the one Africa Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about, I don't know if this is true or not, but it translates to gift from God. Gift from God. Moving forward. So, here's also what I have to counter it now. Also, too, the gangsters being the black fighters. Eventually you will be, and you're going to go against the white leadership. Eventually you will. It's going to work. You'll see. And then the foundation, that being the being up against the white civilians. The spiritual force of the soul's nature is my foundation. That's my foundation there. So that's the setup for my soul psyche there. That's what I'm going to combat their soul psyche with. I'm going to combat their devil soul psyche with my God soul psyche. And it starts with deprogramming and or decolonizing the religions. And how do I decolonize the religions? By flipping their ignorance to soul awareness. That's simple. But I got to do it in a way, revelation, Christ-style. I got to do it in a Christ-style way. Christ logic impact. You follow what I'm saying? 5 senses real quick. The 5 senses. Christ logic. The Christ logic impact being the sound sense. Get on the right sound track. The sound track way. John 14:6. You follow what I'm saying? Then the next one, if you can guess it. NSCB, Negative Spirit Exodus Blueprint. That's the next sense. And then the next one, if you can guess it, Super Soul Tribe. Or Super Yahusha 47 or Super Soul 47. Next one. You have infinite senses, by the way. Next one. Cosmic Soul Tribe. Cosmic Soul Tribe. And the last one. Free Soul Tribe. Now you're back to your senses. Get ready for the next battle. You follow what I'm saying? This is how I'm going to have it all lined up for us. Well, this is what I'm going to use to, combat against the enemy's ways in every way possible. And that there is actually your double standard too as well. That's what I meant to put in this video. I meant to put double standard in this video. That was supposed to be a key reference in this video to having a more full grasp of the entirety of what the parables of karmic moral awareness are talking about. The double standard in a sense. It's just the love standard versus a hate standard. That's all it is. It's a love standard versus a hate standard. Because all of that, the devil's psyche and senses, the devil's psyche senses, the devil's soul psyche senses are all just the standard of hate. All of it is. Just an entire standard of hate. What Iran and Israel are operating off of right now is a standard of hate. But why do they have it? I know why now. And then the 5 senses are those hierarchies that I mentioned in which they use to put the devil's ways into the world. You follow me? And then the one that I set up. The religions, tribes, gangs, and foundation. The religions, tribes, gangs, and foundations. What does my foundation consist of? My foundation consists of all of the melanated rich, all of the melanated middle class, and all of the melanated poverty-stricken worldwide due to colonization. And then when you want to take it to the the established portion, that's when I'm including everybody. I don't care what your genetic class is, nor what your color is. Whether you're a non-melanated or melanated, it makes no difference. If you are a rich person, middle-class person, or poverty-stricken person somewhere on the planet, my conviction will consume you. God will have his world. And then you will be free, self-governing, and preventing the devil from putting anything into your mind ever again. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I just want these words to reach you pronto and help you end all of the wars in which you need to end. Keynote though, or random question should I say. How did the oppressive body get our own people to fight against each other? Double standard, karmic moral awareness, or moral karma, by tricking us to see each other the wrong way. If we saw each other the right way, will we be fighting each other? No. We're only seeing each other based on the wrong standards we all have. Therefore, operate with this one standard. 4 words that label and describe one set of energy. Peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.